riding and you met someone called Kayla Carrier?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That story. That sounds amazing.
It was amazing, actually. It was my first time going up to Big Eddy Lodge, which is in northern Saskatchewan. It's almost 5 hours north of where I live in Saskatoon. And it's in an area called the Saskatchewan River Delta. So it's actually almost more water up there than there is land. There's so many rivers and streams and amazing place. And historically, that was an area for indigenous and Métis people, did all of the hunting and trapping and trading up in that area. And that waterway was a connection between Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and then into Ontario and Quebec eventually, for the fur trade. So there's a huge, rich history up there, but it's very isolated up there. There's not a lot of communities. The closest one is called Cumberland House, which is a town. But Big Eddy Lodge is the home of Solomon and Renee Carrier, and their children, one of which, Michaela, still lives with them there. She's in her early 20s. And I found out about Big Eddy Lodge through a friend of mine, Jeff, who is the first person I ever knew to buy a fat bike, and he's the reason I bought my fat bike. We were going up there for a race in the winter. And the great thing about being up there in the winter is that all the water's frozen. So you can cycle anywhere. In the summer, you would be in a canoe and you'd use the waterways and you would go through the portages over land to get to the next waterway, and you'd go through that way. But to certain places, you'd have a long distance to get to different places. Well, when everything's frozen, you can go wherever you want. And you use old trap lines, and you use Solomon's trap lines in order to do this race up there called Escape the Hooved Man. There's a whole story about escaping this devil, Hooved Man. And Solomon organized this race. So it's my first time going up to Big Eddy Lodge for this fat bike race. And I meet Michaela, his daughter. So we've done the race. I meet her first, and we're getting all ready for the race. And then I do the race. And after, everybody's all exhausted, and you're just eating and talking. It's one big cabin that we all share for food and cooking and socializing. And then everybody has a little cabin that they stay in with a little wood stove, and then a family cabin where the family sleeps. So we're all in this one cabin, and it's cold. It's like minus 38 degrees Celsius. We've had a great time cycling because you generate a lot of heat when you bike. So staying warm was not an issue. But I thought going up there the first time that, oh, I need to bring lots of layers because it's going to be so cold up there. Well, a wood-fired sauna at 100 plus degrees. And when you're in that one building with everybody eating and socializing, you generate a lot of heat and moist heat. And so people were in their t-shirts, and so cold was not an issue. Michaela, as it turns out, she's a Cree Métis woman, has studied with elders around indigenous plant medicines. Since 2014, when I came back from Thailand, having learned Thai herbal ball massage, I was looking for somebody locally that I could work with to develop an herbal ball that was local, that was from our own herbs. So it would be a Thai stem herbal ball, but with our own herbs in it. And that just wasn't happening. This is years later, and I meet Michaela, and I'm telling her about this, and she's like, I'd love to do that. And she's not a massage therapist, but she's learning some indigenous massage techniques, and she's learning from different people about them. So she is very, very interested in massage and body work and nutrition. Well, her and I, after that fat bike race, within 2 hours had an entire workshop built that the two of us were going to do around doing ceremony before going out to walk to the herbs, and harvesting the herbs and preparing the herbs and placing and creating the herbal balls, and then using the herbal balls for treatment. So there would be two workshops. It's for practitioners to learn how to do all this for themselves in their practice with their clients.
Yeah.
And the other one was for the public, my clients, anybody, to come out and experience an indigenous herbal walk and harvest, and then create the herbal balls, but then they get the massage from Michaela and I.
Yeah, wow.
And so that was supposed to happen mid-June. So highly doubt that's going to happen now this year. But it's definitely going to happen. And I may end up going up there this June to be with Michaela and to the herbs together. If our social distancing has been let up enough that we can travel a little bit more, that's my plan, is to go up there, and we'll actually create some herbal balls so that when we get back to work, I'll have some herbal balls to use with clients that is all about local plants, allowing us to be stronger for our immune system.
And that's what they say, don't they? They say that the local produce is energetically more aligned to the local species, the people in the area. So
absolutely,
having Thai herbs in Thailand across to Canada or Australia is never going to be as powerful as Canadian herbs.
That's right.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
That's cool. So
it was just incredibly exciting to meet somebody who was and meld it with what I've learned from Thailand. And Michaela also had done a TV series called Merchants of the Wild. It's on an Aboriginal television network here in Canada. A young group of Aboriginal people were taken out into northern Ontario and had to canoe in birch bark canoes, a traditional trade route, on their own. And most of them were city kids. Michaela was the only one who actually lived out in the bush. And it's an amazing series, but it really showed her skills in being able to bring together some traditional knowledge around herbs and medicines and food within that kind of a setting. And so I got to watch that series, and I just thought, I can't believe I get to pair up with this young, bright, inspired woman in order to do these workshops in northern Saskatchewan.
Amazing, is it? So it's April 10, 2020, because this is going to be, these are time lapse things. You have a vodcast forever. So we're in throes of, for us.
Did you say vodka or vodcast?
Vodka asked.
Right.
So this is ice black coffee. It's long ice black. But so many people go, is that a rum?
Yeah. This is a cup that I got from the Dakota 5-0 in South Dakota, a 50-mile mountain bike endurance race, but it's just got water in it.
Yeah, no, I need caffeine because it's in the morning for me, it's the afternoon for you. But we're talking about how the COVID virus is in full throw right now around the world globally, and it's going to change things. So you're already talking about applying your clinical work and your experience, and Michaela talked about making it more to local. How do you feel that integrating COVID into your business, how can you see that unfolding?
It's amazing because in such a short period of time, there's been so much change. And I think what I didn't realize when this first started, how fundamentally it would change things for quite some time. So now I'm looking at, I work in a collective. Nobody owns our business. We're all independent practitioners that come together as a collective to run our clinic. There's been some amazing shifts in both the collective, my practice, and our physical space. So 3 specific areas that I've noticed over the last, it's only been 2 weeks. Yeah. Or 2 weeks for us here anyways.
Two end about 2 for us as well, 2 and a bit.
Okay. The first thing is with clients. I mean, I immediately missed the connection with my clients and realizing how some of them were immediately contacting me to ask me questions. And we have an online booking system that is a Canadian system called Jane. is brilliant. They've been absolutely amazing in helping us with messaging, with if you can do so, to do telehealth, so over the internet, but really helping us to deal with all of the client communication and change in practice as much as they can. So I immediately put together a little video, a very simple little hand massage video, and did it in a MailChimp email that went out to clients. And then I also linked it to our Facebook and Instagram pages. I was overwhelmed with the response from my clients about how much they enjoyed the video, because it was all about, while we're all physical distancing, don't forget to touch the ones you're with, that we're getting so much less touch now.
Yeah.
That if you are in physical isolation with your family, don't forget about each other, touch each other. And there's ways of doing that that's safe and healthy for you on many levels. And so loved that message. And then also just, I've been sending out emails about this information that I've been getting on different webinars I've been on, and different communications that I've gotten over years from organizations that are all focused on COVID. There's all this amazing information that I'm distilling down for my clients, making it short, sweet, and positive around how to deal with the challenges.
Yeah, that's the big thing, isn't it? Because people get overwhelmed with all these warning COVID virus emails. But to get a positive sign, and shock that would come from someone in Canada.
Yes.
So let's make this a glass half full.
Well, and you know what's also interesting, I think, is like we were just talking about how much more effective local plants and herbs can be for your immune system. Is that also, I had a client that made me realize, she said, I'm getting all sorts of information, but what was so nice is to get an email from you, or to go onto your Facebook page or your Instagram page and see a message about somebody I'm really connected with, that I know is passionate about these things and will look for the right information and give me good information. And I feel that I can trust what's coming out. It's a positive, it's got a positive spin to it. It's about facts, and it's about how to deal with the stress. So she said, that's the sort of thing that she's looking for to help her get through what's going on. And so it's that local connection, social connection, and knowing the source can be trusted.
Yeah,
right?
That's a big one, because they trust you. They come in, and to actually touch somebody is a blessing. Like we have a gift that we are receiving when someone allows us to touch them. So us and hairdressers, there's not too many other people that are out there in the industry. And thank God in Australia, the hairdressers is still an essential service, so you can still go and get your hair cut.
Ours are not, and I'm dreading the day that Sean's going to be cutting my hair. We'll have to do another one of these, and we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, we will definitely.
Okay.
I don't want to hold us up for too long, because, you were going to say something.
Yeah, well, the second thing, so that the client communication, the second thing was the physical space. We were already renovating a room to add a new practitioner. Today, I just finished everything that I wanted to do there, but what I've done is we've completely changed our whole reception area. We used to have, it's quite a large area, but we used to have a reception desk, and we had people sitting right next to each other in the reception room.
I've been there, I know.
Yeah, and I was thinking, this is not going to happen when we reopen. Even when we reopen, it's probably going to be graded, and people are still going to be conscious about staying further away from people, possibly still wearing a mask out in public. Heightened sense of hygiene and washing. And so how do we deal with that physical space in our clinic? And so I took the desk out completely. We've a much smaller little area where the point of sale machine will be, if people still want to use that, with cleaning solution that after somebody uses it, it's being cleaned right away. The spaciousness of removing that desk has allowed us to place chairs in a way that people are the recommended distance apart, but they're still within an area that they can see each other, listen to the calming music that we have, and still feel some kind of connection but still in a safe environment. And so thinking about, we want to look and feel and act when we are able to get back into work. So that's the second one.
Yep.
I think also linked into that, you know, when you were talking about how we are so fortunate to be able to work with us, their trust to work with them. I think one of the things that is so important around that is the work that you do outside of your training and your modalities and your education around your specific treatment that you do. It's about who you are as a person that is really incredible. And I think that will also be even more heightened in this COVID time, where people are looking towards others for not only social connection, but that ability to trust and knowing that people are looking out for them, that we're caring for each other and that we're doing things for each other.
Yeah, that's social community and influencer. And that's what you are as your therapist for your clients. They trust the words that you spread. So we've got a two-edged sword here. We can be in that fear-based area, which hopefully most therapists are out of now because the time lag.
Yes.
But we've got even more responsibility for our clients to look after, I think, than the average person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
So what would you like to say to we had this conversation, I'd like to ask therapists, if you could go back in time, you now, what would you say to the new you that was walking in through India and starting in that first massage, going, will I go into this industry or not? What pearls of wisdom would you give?
Well, you know, I think one of the things that I didn't know at the time that I was doing was what I would now tell myself is the most important thing to do. And that is that working on yourself, on how to deal with life. So your mental health, your physical health, your nutrition, and how you relate to people. And one of the key things in relating to people is having a non-judgmental attitude. That's one thing that always comes up in my head. Because of what my clients tell me about their experiences in the room. And that is that they feel like they can go through whatever happens is okay, that I'm not judging them for that shouldn't have happened, or that I'm uncomfortable that it's happened, or that they should do something else. They can just go through what they need to go through and know that I'm there to either support them or just be with them or to give suggestions without making a judgment that it is a good thing or a bad thing or the right thing or the wrong thing. And I think that's been one of the strongest pieces of my practice, and I didn't realize it for years and years and years. And clients would tell me this kind of thing, and I'd say, "Oh, I'm so happy that they feel that way, right? That makes me feel great that they feel comfortable in my room." And what I didn't realize until later, and definitely now with all this research coming out about it, is that is probably one of the most important things of our treatments, because it's hard for somebody to heal in whatever they're going through, whether it's a physical or an emotional, mental thing. It's hard for them to heal if they're in a position where they don't feel safe, they are not comfortable, or they feel judged. There's a barrier there. There's something that's stopping them from being able to move through those stages you need to go through in order to deal with that issue. So having that kind of ability to be with people and let them be themselves and let all of that be okay, while taking all of this incredible knowledge and skill that you have in the modalities that you have, that amplifies everything and makes everything you do even better. I was listening to a great podcast by Whitney Lowe and Till Lukow, The Thinking Practitioner. It's a great podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts.
Okay. How do you spell it? I know Whitney.
Yeah, Whitney Lowe and Till, T-I-L.
Oh, Till Lukow. Yes. Yeah.
Lukow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Great.
Yeah, and one of their sessions was on that. It was on everything that you do around your actual treatment and how important that is. So I think telling my younger self that meditating, dealing with stress, figuring out how to deal with your mental health, whether that's depression, whether that's just that feeling of being lost or sad or not knowing what you want to do, dealing with all those things is what's going to make you an even better therapist. Because if you don't struggle, if you don't go through those things, when your clients are struggling, you won't know how to support them.
Yeah.
So when you struggle and you try and figure out your life and you use tools to do that, those are going to be your strengths being brought into your practice that round out your practice to be something that people will connect to because it matters. It makes a difference.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. When people connect with same, so if they, at an intuitive sense, they go, this person understands where I am coming from. I feel safe in this environment. So yeah, we can put ourselves in a bubble and hide and avoid everything, but you won't be a great practitioner if you push yourself through into those different areas of like, how can I be better? How can I fall down and learn how to get up?
Yes,
because I'll be better for it.
Absolutely. And in all that you do as a student, and then coming out of school and going into your continuing education, that's the other thing, is that constant learning, that constant striving for how to bring those things in your practice is so exciting and can change the course of your career in an instant. I mean, I never in 1,000 years would have told you when I took that first Thai massage course or that first Western therapeutic course that it would actually become my full-time profession and that I would become the president of a national board and travel to Australia and all over the world, expanding my whole knowledge of our profession at that level. It never entered my mind at that point, but the relationships that I built, the people that I met through the experiences that I had around that, being open and creative, right? It brings people or things into your life that you connect to, and that inspires you and that inspires your clients.
Yes,
right?
I totally agree. Well, on that beautiful positive note, I think that I might let you, I'm not sure what you're doing this evening. It's Thursday night for you?
It's Thursday night. It's pizza night.
Actually, we had pizza last night.
I got dough rising. Yeah,
so you're doing the right thing. We pulled it out of the fridge. But today is Good Friday, so I've ordered and I have trays of Coffin Bay oysters and peeled king prawns and Moreton Bay bugs, and that'll be
nice.
Ours, and possibly a cheeky white wine or a glass of bubbles.
Yes. I think I'll share that with you.
I think we should. Virtual sharing as often as we can.
That's right.
It's such a pleasure and such a delight. And I know that people that are going to be listening to this podcast are going to have pick up some great tips. Learning Thai, learning how to integrate local. Just the tip with you talking about sending an email through MailChimp with a small video, that connection to their clients. So that's gold. So hopefully I'm going to get this podcast out to people sooner rather than later so that they can take advantage of that, because I'm just
absolutely
great messages for them.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for asking me. This has been so much fun. It's always a joy talking to you, Paula.